I actually wanted to talk about two of the articles from the Issues in Technology Integration course readings. The first of those was the Creating Technology-Enhanced Learner-Centered Classrooms and those 12 psychological principles that they mentioned. But the biggest one, I think, is that just as teachers want to be shown and not being told, that they should be serving as facilitators of learning as opposed to just transmitters. If a teacher is only guiding the knowledge as opposed to directly and specifically telling kids what they should be learning, I think you limit your students' knowledge, but again, that takes away from a learner-centric classroom. Kids when they learn things, are going to take what they learn, and immediately they're probably going to familiarize it or associate it with another experience in their life to apply it. That, I think, is maybe the biggest thing to take away from this, is how are you going to differentiate so that the students are not only hitting the standards that the state requires them to, but then also how they're going to use this in their own life, making that knowledge much more applicable and probably thus then being easily retained from what they've learned. With the use of technology, I think that you also stand to benefit from group collaboration in terms of just using integrated systems online, whether that be a Google Classroom or something similar to it. If then we're really trying to redesign a classroom to be more learner-centric and utilize technology as a means to being more collaborative and being more resourceful with our tools, then I think it's really important to look at the design process, but not just the design process as a means of restructuring a classroom, but as a way of critical thinking. This is, I believe, the way that the design process is meant to be used, as it goes from finding a problem, thinking of ways to solve it, and then actually executing that plan, and then going back and analyzing. One of the most important keys, and I think that this maybe gets glossed over, is that you need to set constraints and you need to set boundaries when you are trying something new, especially in a classroom. Because chaos in a classroom doesn't help, but at the same time, too, if you don't ever try anything new, you're never going to get any new results. So we really need to look at that constraint and how that actually applies to differentiation in terms of lesson building, in terms of pedagogical techniques. We watched a video from a woman who worked for a company called IDEO, and IDEO actually put out a video back in 2007 where they redesigned a shopping cart. And one of the biggest takeaways from that I had was, whenever you create a solution, you're bound to create more problems in the process. And I think that this is something that teachers need to be aware of, that just because you want to execute something doesn't mean it's going to go as planned, and that it really takes setting careful steps to achieve what you're trying to do.